parents of Brian and Katie. Today, as we join Brian and Katie together in marriage, we celebrate them as they begin a new family together. Yet we also know that this new branch of the family tree will be strengthened and enriched by the love of their families. Will you, Alan and Kathy, and Dan and Nancy, bless Brian and Katie in their marriage? Will you celebrate them in times of joy and encourage them in times of hardship? Thank you. You may be seated.
Jackson. Hi, Jay. Do you give your mom your blessing to marry Brian? And do you officially invite Brian into your heart and life from this day forward? Hi, everybody. Whew, we made it. We're here. Everybody's here. It's lovely to see you all. If you don't know me, my name is Aaron Allen. This is my wife, Nicole. We are officiating the wedding this evening. We are good friends of the bride and groom, and we are very excited to be here celebrating these two wonderful, wonderful people. Clearly, they are very, very loved. And speaking of loved, in fact, I'm going to let you all know, just for the sake of letting you know. In the back corner there, that's my daughter, we're live streaming this wedding. The reason we're live streaming this wedding is because there's about 500 middle school students who really wanted to be here. They are unbelievably adored by students. They teach 7th grade and I teach 8th grade at the same school. And whenever I, at the beginning of the year, mention either Mr. Huffman or Mrs. Salvaggio's name, they're like Will Ferrell on Elf. Mr. Huffman, I know him! It's unbelievable. So just really quick, we're going to wave to all the people. I told them we give them a shout out. Hello. Hello, everybody. So we're going to spend some time talking about Katie and Brian and how they got together and who they are as people. And my wife is going to start.
So most of you know that we actually knew Brian before we met Katie. And calling him by his first name is actually kind of a new development in our relationship. He has been mostly known as Huffy around our house. And I only mention this because before I met Katie, I knew that there must be someone. Because all of a sudden, we're asking questions like, have you heard from Huffy lately? Is he still alive? Do we need to check on him? Because our friend that had been at our house multiple times a week, most weeks, was suddenly missing in action. Now, little did I know that I actually had seen Katie before I realized it, because she happened to be our daughter's 7th grade teacher. And I had gone to one of those parent nights and got to see her, and you know, I remember thinking, oh, she's cute, and sort of had this instinct of like, she's a good teacher. But little by little, I started hearing about this new friend of Huffy's. And immediately my radar went up because, of course, I felt a little protective, so I had sort of this, we'll see. But of course, at the same time, our daughter, Roz, started coming home saying all of these things like, oh my gosh, Miss Sal is so awesome, and she's so cool, and you know, just sort of just general gushing, and oh my God, you have to meet her, Mom. You'll totally love her. Oh my gosh. And well, if we're honest, she still gushes about her. But then our oldest son actually also had known her and kept saying, she's so cool. And he described her once as kind of spicy and strong, but in all the good ways. And well, finally, you know, after hearing about each other for quite a while, I finally got to meet her. And she was dropping our son off and sort of timidly came to the door and just said, I don't want to interrupt, but I just kind of wanted to meet you. And what started off as what was probably going to be a 5-minute meet and greet turned into 2.5 hours of gabbing between us. And I think that we probably both could have talked all night if we wouldn't have had jobs the next day. When we met, something bigger was at work. Because as we started talking even that first night, I had this sense that there was this missing piece in our collective life puzzle that suddenly came into our lives. And it doesn't make sense, and that certainly isn't part of my nature. I tend to be more of a skeptic. But something deep in my gut started saying loud and clear, this girl might be the girl. And even as I started describing her to friends, I'd say, I know this makes no sense, but we just clicked. And it's just felt like we've known her forever. And everything just felt right. Like a friend that we were somehow waiting for, but didn't know until she got here. And even as we were talking, Katie and I, a couple of weeks ago, she mentioned feeling very similar on her end. When she had met different friends and family of Brian's, it felt different, like somehow it fit, and she didn't want it to end. As their friendship grew, her independence, which she was good at beforehand, started to shift. But before they had met, she wasn't looking for a man. She had Jack, and that was enough. She wasn't the kind of girl that was always thinking about, somebody that she needed to depend on because she was good at the independence thing. And outside of Jack, she hadn't really experienced that depth of love before. And like I said, as their friendship grew, her independence started to shift to dependence and a tether to Brian, which I think was both unnerving and comforting all at the same time. Their relationship grew so naturally from friendship that I think it almost caught them by surprise. Neither one of them can actually name their first date. I actually think that it's because that wasn't the origin of their story. It was friendship. Friendship where they laughed a lot, and they played games and talked for hours well into the night, and where they shared deeply, sometimes even having those tough conversations, but so genuinely not wanting there to be any secret or hidden place. It's a gift. It's a gift to be able to say that you, deep down, not only romantically love someone, but that they're also your best friend. And the older I get, the more I realize how truly uncommon that is. Many of us know that sometimes sharing that vulnerably can be scary and hard and a little bumpy at times, but it's rich and so worth it. Because real love, it costs us. It undoes us. Sometimes it's messy and rough around the edges. It can be passionate, but it's also in the regular day-to-day and in the unexpected. Ultimately, it's vulnerable, transparent, and real. But love doesn't come cheap. Not the real thing. Some days it's all the lovely and fun feelings, the weak in the knees kind of day. But some days, it's a decision. Some days, I choose to love you, even when you're making me crazy. I'm sure no one else can relate to that, though. But today, you guys are making it official. You are becoming one. One team. Team Huffman. No longer are you fighting just for yourself, but now you are committing to fight for the other person, even when the other one can't or won't, because you make each other better. You're saying to each other, I've got your back, and you are not alone. And this is just the beginning. There will be lots of adventures, both challenging and exciting. And I know that you will be strengthened by walking through life together, pushing each other to be better and grow. Not afraid to address the hard things because you've already built a foundation for that. While also being able to cheer for each other the loudest in your victories. I believe in the ability to love someone with that kind of selfless love. And I believe that that comes from somewhere outside of ourselves. I believe that kind of love comes from God. So look and wonder at those you love, for they are the face of God. And as I look at the two of you, I look forward to the memories that we're going to have over the years. And I'm so excited for you, and I just love you.
I should have went first. So like I said, I teach 8th grade, and one of the things I really pride myself on is having no drama in my classroom, ever. I build a suit of armor around my classroom, and if there is any drama at all, that is not okay. You save that for outside the classroom. But early in the year last year, I had some serious drama in my classroom. Actually, you know what? Let's come back to that. We'll come back to that later. I'm going to take you back about 4 or 5 years when I met Brian Matthew Huffman. And actually, I heard about him before I even met him. And back then, I knew him by another name before I even met him. His name was Hottie Huffman. At least around Sacagawea it was. And all the kids were telling me about Hottie Huffman. He was the hot, young, new teacher. I was a little offended by that, because that was my title previously. Not cool, man. Oh, thank you. She said I'm still hot. Yes. So I kind of wanted to know who this Hottie Huffman was, and through talking, we just kind of got to know each other through trips to Washington, D.C., through adventures, through talking at school, and just being peers and colleagues, and started to develop a friendship, and it was pretty cool. I started to realize that Brian was an incredible person who cared a lot about other people and wanted to know about other people, and I loved that about him, and it was sort of an instant click for us. As time went on, you know, the snarky comments and staff meetings continued to grow. Sorry, Adam and Jeremy, apologies. It was wonderful. Plus, he was the only grown man I could talk intelligently about football and Harry Potter both. It was incredible. Some men can talk about football, and some men can talk about Harry Potter, but few of us can talk about both. We are true Renaissance men. He started coming over to our house a lot and started getting to know our family. And one of the things that's a test of true friendship for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you, is how well you get to know my children. And Huff became an uncle, a brother, a friend to them. And Brian and I will always be grateful for how much you care about my kids and how much they care about you, so thank you. Soon the talks about football and Harry Potter turned to deeper things, other things. Things about love and life and philosophy and beliefs and all of these things. And in those talks, I remember a lot of things, actually. I hope you do. One thing that we kind of thought a lot, mostly him, was that this day might never come. And here we are. I mean, it was 4th and 20 sometimes. It was going to take a Hail Mary. And here we are. And for the Harry Potter people, it was like Dementors were surrounding us. So we sort of just covered the whole room there. And that brings me back to the 8th grade classroom drama. The thing about the drama was, it wasn't students, it was these two people in front of me. And I started, this Katie would come in my room in the morning. Did he say something about me? What did he say? Is he leaving? And then like 20 minutes later, she'd leave, and then Huff would come in. Hey, what did she say? I think I really like her, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know any of this. I have no idea what's going on. Very confused. But then I started realizing that something was very different about Katie, and about Brian, and about who they were. And like my wife said, I started to get the sense that she was the one. In those talks, we would talk a lot about love, preconceptions of what it was and what it should be. And on the roughest days for Brian, I'm pretty sure his plan was a Henry David Thoreau style cabin, alone in the woods, forever, talking to the leaves. Kind of a transcendentalist thing, except with a lot more frozen pizza. But here's the thing. The right person blows all of our preconceptions, plans, and ideas out of the water. And Katie is that person. Yeah? But I'm going to use it anyway. 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. I actually stopped at that one, because that was the part that no one ever talks about, I think, in their weddings. Love keeps no record of wrongs. It's a rather incredible thing to say. I think for anyone here who's been married for any length of time, that's number one with a bullet, right? Like that's hard to keep that one. Why? I think because that kind of love is without conditions. It's truly unconditional. It has no borders or boundaries. And that's the kind of love I see between Katie and Brian. It's the kind of love we're celebrating here today. And whether you have faith or not, the potency of those words is present and real. That kind of love will cost you time, effort, and money, but you have decided it is worth it. That decision changes who you are. Loving another person and caring about them more than my own comfort or needs, and yet when we find and invest in that love, we experience a depth of peace, of trust, and of hope that is not possible without it. Allow me to quote my favorite author, C.S. Lewis, talking about the event of falling in love. Not Kirk Cobain. The event of falling in love is of such a nature that we are right to reject as intolerable the idea that it is fleeting. In one high bound, it has overleaped the mass of our selfhood, tossed personal happiness aside as a triviality, and planted the interests of another in the center of our being. I see that kind of love, that kind of life-altering love in your friendship and who you are as a couple. And it's so clear to me how much you love Katie Bryan and how she has completely interrupted everything in the most wonderful way. If I could just speak to that guy 4 years ago on my couch for a sec. I'm so grateful that you found her. And as I saw your relationship, and then pretty soon how you love Jack, and who he is to you, and how much he loves you, and you with them together, I just realized you're home. And I'm so thankful that you found home. And I can't wait to see what your adventure together will bring. Whatever it brings, I believe you will face it together, and you will both be better for it. I love you guys.
Katie and Brian wrote their own vows that they wanted to share with each other. So Katie's going to start us off.
I wanted to start because I thought it would help and me not be crying yet. Sorry, guys. Brian, little did I know on that fateful day that we met during a riveting presentation by Chris DeFlorio. I would meet my future husband. Our whispering during the presentation turned into a conversation afterward that led to us missing lunch with our colleagues. It was not romantic or dreamy. It was simply two people excited to have found a friendship. From that day forward, our conversation never stopped. We became fast friends, never missing an opportunity or a moment to spend time together. We worked incessantly to help and better educate our students in common. That makes me cry. We played catch. We watched sports. We formed lifelong friendships with the people we have here with us today. Relished in our time with Jack. Taken beautiful and memorable family trips. And developed a bond and love that is everlasting. Neither of us can actually remember our first real date. And I believe it's because our first meeting just never really ended. From the instant that you came into my life, in that classroom, you've been my person. I always refer to North Carolina as my home. where I found my true home. As we stand here today on our wedding day, my heart is overflowing with love for you. You are gentle and selfless, and you have the sweetest heart. You are shamelessly handsome. However, your soul is what makes you incredible. I am proud of the man you are, and I truly believe you make me a better woman and mother. You have already taught me so much about the kind of person that I want to be. I am far from perfect. This you know, of course, but you accept me for who I am, and you love me for my flaws. I know that you will always support me, no matter what this life throws at us. I absolutely love that your family has become mine, and my family has become yours. Throughout our time together, I have watched you grow into an amazing parent. Your love for Jack is infinite, and for that, my family and I are eternally grateful. You are my best friend, and the love of my life. We've shared so much to be here today, but I know the best is yet to come. From this day forward, I promise you will not walk alone. I promise to always find you when you're lost, and bring you back to us. My heart will forever be your shelter. You are the one I have waited my whole life to find. I love you.
I should have gone first too. I'm not going to mention the name of the training. I'm just going to be kind of vague here. Katie and I met at a school during a training. They know what we mean. After the training, she, Bergie, and I went back to my classroom, and we all became more or less friends at once. Over time, Katie and I grew into more than friends. We shared a love of Harry Potter, and I learned to love the band, the Avett Brothers. Even though I say the Avett Brothers, sometimes she's put up with me. We played cards at my apartment. One day we were driving kind of randomly to Spokane Valley on a school night to go shopping, just to kind of forget the week. And she played for me a song called Souls Like the Wheels. And she queued it up for me. She's like, hey, I got a song for you. And it goes a little something like this. I'm not going to sing. I'll just read it. I'm terrible at singing. She reminds me frequently. Which hurts my feelings, but it's okay. Souls like the wheels, turning, taking us with wind at our heels, burning, making us decide on what we're giving. Change this life, this way of living. One little song, give me strength to leave the sad and the wrong. Bury safely in the past where I've been living. Alive, but unforgiving. Let me go, let me go, let me go. I don't know how to explain how profound that moment was. I had tears in my eyes. She had found a song for me that knocked down my walls and hit me in the chest. From that moment on, I was yours, Katie. How special ordinary moments can become. Around this time, I met Jack. Before he even knew me as the new person with his mom, he called me his friend. He told his parents at Thanksgiving he was thankful for me. Before I never been more flattered. The three of us took a trip to Seattle shortly after, and our little family was formed. Every day since then has been filled with love. I have you to thank for that, Katie. For loving me, for sharing your life, a wonderful son with me. I am so lucky. One little girl brought me life from where I thought it was dark. She's the spark that lit my candle, love that I can handle. Nearly every week I learn that I can handle more and more love. For you, Jack. Thanks for the tic-tac. You have to watch your mom and the kiss in a second. So. for my students even. I feel kinder now, so much more at ease and at peace. My mom has told you, Katie, thank you for giving me my son back. Katie, I thank you for giving me my life back. It made me infinitely happier. Therefore, I promise to hold your hand and walk through life with you when your hair is gray. Oh, and mine has finished falling out. I make a hair about my receding hairline about once a week in class, don't I, Ross? Yeah. Anyways, sorry. I promise to continue to go on adventures with you as my companion and best friend. I promise to listen to you when you are frustrated, even at me. And I promise to support you and be your person to lean on. I promise to love you and you alone. Jackson. I hope that when you are older and a man, that you will love me like I love my dad. That you will want to take a trip with me every summer in our trailer like I do with my dad. That you will call me on Sundays to talk about the Seahawks or Panthers. No matter how old you are or what time it is, I promise to always listen. I promise to love you no matter what, as if I could help it. Thank you both for loving a wretch like me.
Well, let's take a breath there. That was beautiful. Please take Brian's hand and repeat after me. In giving you this ring, I'm choosing to share my whole life's journey with you.
I'm choosing to share my whole life's journey with you.
Supporting each other through life's sorrows.
Supporting each other through life's sorrows.
And rejoicing together in times of happiness.
And rejoicing together in times of happiness.
Knowing that in marrying you, I become much more than I am.
I become much more than I am.
That I will become my best self.
That I will become my best self.
And a reflection of God's love.
And a reflection of God's love.
You are my best friend and husband.
You are my best friend and my husband.
Until we are parted by death.
Until we are parted by death.
Therefore, do you, Katie, take Brian to be your lawfully wedded husband?
I do.
Brian, please take Katie's hand and repeat after me. In giving you this ring, I am choosing to share my whole life's journey with you.
I'm choosing to share my whole life's journey with you.
Supporting each other through life's sorrows.
Supporting each other through life's sorrows.
And rejoicing together in times of happiness.
And rejoicing together in times of happiness.
Knowing that in marrying you, I become much more than I am.
I become much more than I am.
That I will become my best self.
That I will become my best self.
And a reflection of God's love.
And a reflection of God's love.
And all things good in the world.
And all things good in the world.
You are my best friend and wife.
You are my best friend and wife.
Until we are parted by death.
Until we are parted by death.
Therefore, do you, Brian, take Katie to be your lawfully wedded wife?
I do.
Well, by the power vested in me, by the state of Washington, and also the internet, now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce for the first time Mr. and Mrs. Huffman.
Well, now it's party time, guys. So, before anything else really gets too started, we actually need everybody here to either go into the foyer. There's a bar that's just over these little set of stairs, or you can also hang out up here, upstairs, so that we can get this all set up for dinner, okay?